Well, you are aware the COVID-19 induced economic crisis has its impact on the media too. There has been a significant number of layoffs, fresh recruitment has almost stopped, there is a wage cut in several media organizations. As a result of the downward spiral in the economy, the media's advertising revenues are plummeting. So when media is losing its income, there is an attempt for cost cutting. So one of the easiest way to cut costs is to reduce the human resource cost, the HR cost. So the media organizations are increasingly dependent on freelance writers, freelance journalists for filling their news space. Well, this is one factor which gives an enormous opportunity for freelance journalism. Number two, today media doesn't mean established newspapers, TV channels. Media today means a host of news websites, channels, YouTube channels, there are news portals, apps, etc., etc. Almost every newspaper has its print edition and online edition. Online edition of a newspaper carries more articles, more stories than the print edition, because the print edition obviously suffers from a space limitation, whereas the online edition doesn't have this kind of a space limitation. Not just the print media, even the television channels have their own websites. If you look at NDTV website, News 18 websites, which also accommodate stories not just by their own of journalists but also from the freelancers. Besides, your own social media accounts can be the media platform for you. Obviously, you can write in your Facebook, you can speak on your own YouTube channel, you can write, you can do a video, or you can record something on your Instagram. So therefore you can even have your own blog and a website. Today the blogging is increasingly accepted as journalism. So therefore freelance journalism has immense potential. Before I get into the details of how to become a freelance journalist, especially what are my own experiences, let me first differentiate between a freelance journalist and a working journalist. Well, freelance journalist is also works, but there is a fundamental difference between a freelance journalist and a working journalist. Normally, working journalist, we refer to someone who is employed in a newspaper organization or a TV channel or a website or any other media platform where he is a paid employee. He is on the regular roles. Obviously, he can't write or contribute for some other newspaper or a TV channel. If you're working for Times Now, you can't do a story for NDTV. If you're working for Hindu, you can't write something for the Times of India. So obviously you are an employee of an organization taking regular salary. So that is the basic, you are governed by the conditions of employment in a particular media organization. So on the contrary, freelance journalist is someone who is not attached specifically to any newspaper or any TV channel. So he has the freedom to enter into any agreement with any newspaper or TV channel, or he or she can still contribute to media without having any formal agreement. There can be an informal understanding between a media organization and a freelancer, and you can still contribute. So the freelance journalist is not an employee of an organization. A freelance journalist can simultaneously contribute to different media organizations. Of course, the principle is that you can't send the same story to more than one newspaper unless you are a syndicated journalist. A syndicated journalist is one who sends his or her stories to more than one newspapers. Normally, newspapers, they send to more than one newspaper, but these newspapers do not operate in a similar audience space. For example, you are a prominent journalist and you want to get 20,000 for your one article. Well, I don't think any newspaper pays you 20,000. Even regional newspapers pay much less. So obviously, how do you get 20,000 for one story? Suppose you want to travel to some country and still report. It's just impossible to meet your expenses. So even within the country, you want to travel to a place and report. You want to go to Assam and report on the Assam floods. Is it possible for you to spend so much money when a newspaper pays you 2,000, 3,000, 5,000? Even the leading websites like Free First Post pays 7,000 rupees per story. So it is just not possible for anyone to meet the expenses. So such prominent journalists become syndicated journalists, which means they can send the same story to multiple newspapers. Of course, every newspaper to which the syndicated freelance journalist sends his or her story will inform them that this story will be sent to such and such a newspaper also. But the normal practice is you avoid sending to competing newspapers. You won't send to Eenadu and Andhra Jyoti because they compete for the same reader space. So you send to Eenadu in Telugu, Dinamalar in Tamil Nadu, in Tamil, Malayalam Manorama, Navabharat Times, and you can perhaps send to a Telegraph, an English newspaper published from Calcutta. So Telegraph and Eenadu does not share the same audience space. Malayalam Manorama, Navabharat Times do not share the same audience space. So syndicated journalism works out to be a win-win situation for both the journalist and the media organization. A very prominent journalist, a very eminent journalist, suppose you want a story of Barkadat, you can't expect to pay Barkadat for the story. So obviously when 10 media organizations pay even a small amount, it becomes a reasonably remunerative amount for the journalist. So unless you are a prominent syndicated journalist, it is not possible for you to send the same story to more than one newspaper. You will be blacklisted for that purpose. I'll tell you my own experience. I did a story and sent it to the Sunday Observer. This was the time when Upendra, former union minister, was leaving a Telugu Desam party, and that was the time when I wanted to write on the exit of Upendra. I don't exactly remember, maybe from TDP or maybe from a particular post. So I was writing on the Upendra's exit. A very important source revealed me this development which is going to happen. Well, my source told me that this will happen in another 2 days or 3 days. So therefore I sent a story to the Independent, for which I was regularly freelancing at the time. The Independent is a Times of India group daily, and I really did not have time because that story has to be published in 3-4 days before Upendra announces his exit. It's a political story, and I waited for 2 days, 3 days. I was terribly worried because the moment Upendra announces his decision, obviously the story will die. It doesn't really have any value. So therefore, that was the time when telephone, email, and you did not have, well, telephone was there, but you hardly had a very good communication facility. So obviously I waited for 2-3 days and I did not get any response. So I have sent it to the Sunday Observer. Unfortunately, both Sunday Observer, a weekly from Mumbai, and the Independent, a daily from Mumbai, published the story. Believe me, the Independent published it before, thank God. the Sunday Observer has blacklisted me. I still remember they have blacklisted me and there was no reply from the Sunday Observer to any of my subsequent stories. So therefore a freelance journalist should not send the same story to more than one newspaper. Well, otherwise you will be blacklisted by another newspaper. So this is a precaution which you have to obviously follow. Well, I have told you what is freelance journalism. You are not part of any media organization technically. You are not an employee of a media organization. You write for the media organizations. You are free to write for more than one media organization, provided you have to write separate stories. Sometimes you will have a competition also. If you are writing one particular type of stories to one newspaper and another type of stories to another newspaper, then obviously there will be a competition. I still remember, I will recollect my own experience. I was writing for News Time. I was writing for the Independent. Well, when you are writing for the two newspapers, obviously, a successful marketing technique is to write a particular type of stories to News Time and a particular type of stories for the Independent. So I was doing field-based stories for the Independent, essentially news stories, where I go to the field and report, and I was writing edit page articles for News Time. So I was distinguishing between my contribution to News Time, and my News Time was an English daily published from the Inadu group, which no longer exists. Believe me, one day News Time editor called me and said, "Sir, you are writing for our edit page, but I saw your story in the Independent. We would like to have the same kind of stories. Why don't you write the similar stuff to us?" Well, I said, it's not possible, because I can't write the similar stuff to two newspapers. So I was not keen. I can. Not that unless and until I do not send the same story to both the newspapers, I can still do it. But I thought I would prefer to write for the Independent, for which I was reporting for quite some time, and I refused to write for the News Time. Believe me, I did not continue my edit page articles to the News Time subsequently. So these are challenges which obviously you face in the freelancing. Now I will tell you what are the advantages of being a freelance journalist. I write for newspapers, I comment on television channels, I still write for several websites. I was writing, I am writing. Well, I am typically a freelance journalist. I am not an employee of any newspaper organization or any television channel. I don't receive any fixed salary or pay from any TV channel or any newspaper. That doesn't mean I am not paid for what I write. Well, sometimes I may not even be paid for what I comment on a TV channel. Essentially, Telugu channels do not pay for the panelist, but English channels pay for the panelist also. Telugu channels also pay when there is a regular kind of a program. So newspapers also pay when you write. Well, but that is not a salary. You are paid a remuneration. It's generally called as an honorarium. It includes your expenses for writing, etc., etc. And it varies from a newspaper to newspaper. The leading websites pay 7,000 per piece. Some websites pay 3,000 per piece. Some websites pay 1,000 per piece also. It essentially depends on the website for which you are writing, and it also depends on the individual journalist competence and popularity. Obviously, you can't expect Salman Khan and some other actor to get the same kind of remuneration in a film. So similar is the case with the freelance journalist too. So now let me tell you what are the advantages of freelance journalism as compared to the working journalist, and what are the disadvantages. The major disadvantages of working in a newspaper organization or a TV channel, you have to surrender your freedom. Essentially, what do I mean by freedom? Well, I have to subscribe to the editorial policy. ideology of that newspaper or a TV channel? Well, I can't be in a Republic TV and be critical of the present central government. But I can be in NDTV and be critical of the present dispensation. Similarly, you have to write to the requirements, needs, necessities, and also the orders of that particular newspaper organization or TV channel. If you are fortunate enough to work under an enlightened editor, enlightened editor will identify the taste and interest of an individual employee and give the same assignment to them. When I was the editor of an English daily, I identified that not just the talent in my reporters and my sub-editor, but I have also I have also asked them what is their exact interest. Someone is interested in cinema, someone is interested in travel, someone is interested in food, someone else is interested in politics. So I asked person who is interested in politics to do the political stories, someone is interested in food and travel to do the stories in that particular area. But if you are working on some other editor, you are interested in politics, but you will be sent to report cinema, you will be sent to write on the food festival, but you have to do it because that's a paid job, you are an employee, you have no other alternative. On the contrary, freelance journalist has an advantage. Well, freelance journalist can select a newspaper for which he wants to write, select a website for which he or she wants to write, and a selected topic of a choice also. I only write on things which I am keen on. I don't write on things which I am not interested in. Because I am a freelance journalist, I have this freedom. I have a freedom to choose my topic. I have a freedom to choose my media outlet. I have also freedom to choose my timing also. If I don't want to write this week, I will not pitch a story. Normally, a freelance journalist has to send a story idea. If you are especially writing for a leading newspapers or a leading websites. Otherwise, it's essential an understanding between you and the websites. So you will not even offer anything this week. There is no compulsion. There is no force on you. Even if the website has something, you can always tell, well, I'm not interested. It is up to you. Sometimes they will ask you also. If you are a veteran freelance journalist, you may send a story idea to that organization, and sometimes that organization also sends you the story idea. We want a story on this, can you write? When I was regularly writing for the First Post, I used to send the story idea to First Post, and First Post used to ask me to write on a particular story idea. So whenever a major event taking place, I still remember when the no confidence motion was taken up in Parliament on the question of special category status to Andhra Pradesh, First Post asked me, sir, can you write a live blog for us today? I accepted and I wrote. Live blog is you will be continuously giving updates on the story. So if you may give a 50 word, 100 word, 150 word update. Normally all 6 or 7 updates I have written, and the 7 updates are considered as one story. Very good websites, very good media organization, once they commission you a story, they will publish it. If they don't publish, still they will pay it. That is called the kill fees. I'll tell you one story. It's not right on my part to reveal the media organization, but I wrote a story on the Prime Minister's fast. You still remember after a pandemonium in Parliament, Narendra Modi was on a fast at Rajghat. Well, I did a story, PM should act but not fast. I have sent the pitch, I have sent the story idea to that concerned website. They cleared it. They asked me to write. I have sent it and they have not published it. Well, they have taken a policy decision subsequently not to publish any more stories on the PM fast, forward against. So they sent me a communication, sorry sir, we have decided late not to entertain any stories on the Prime Minister's fast anymore. But still they have paid me for my article. It is called kill fees. I'll tell you a surprising story. I sent the same story to some other website, another leading website, because it was not published anywhere. So that story, I sent directly the story. I did not send the idea. And the story was published in that website. I got the payment for writing, for publishing my story in this website. And for the same story, I was paid by the website which did not publish my story for no fault of my own, and that is called kill fees. So you are paying fees for killing your story also. So therefore, as a freelance journalist, you have a freedom. You have freedom to select the topic. You have a freedom to select a media outlet. You have a freedom to time, deadline. For example, normally if you are a serious freelance journalist, if you send a story idea and it is cleared, don't delay it. That affects your credibility, adversely affects your credibility. Suppose you have a work today, don't send a story idea. Wait and send the story idea tomorrow. The moment you send a story idea, do not delay filing the story. I never did it. So you should have a self-imposed discipline. You should have a self-imposed deadline. And quite often the editor used to tell me, sir, we don't mind if you send the story by tomorrow 10 a.m. I used to tell, no sir, I will file the story by tonight, 10 p.m. tonight. You may use it tonight or you may use it tomorrow. That is up to you. Why will I file it today? Because I don't believe in delaying a story once I agree to write. And I have more things to write tomorrow. I can't sit on the same story for so long. I want to be a prolific writer. I can't waste my time sitting on the same story. So this is an advantage of a freelance journalist. Well, of course, the major disadvantage of a freelance journalist is you do not have an assured income. There is no guarantee of getting your stories published. Even if you are a senior freelance journalist also, the story idea may not be of interest to that organization. I have written around 80 to 90 stories for First Post, but I humbly submit that at least 10-15 ideas of mine were rejected by the First Post. If an idea is rejected, it doesn't mean your idea is not good. It doesn't mean you are not capable of writing that. A rejection of an idea does not reflect on you. It is essentially because of many reasons. Someone else might have sent the same story idea. There may be an overlapping of the story ideas. You are not the only one freelancer for that website or for that newspaper. Or they might have already published too many stories on the same story idea. They may have an internal staff, in-house staff writing on the story. Obviously, when in-house person is writing, no newspaper or no website will accept a freelancer because they have to pay for the freelancer. It is an extra financial burden to them. So, if your story is rejected, that doesn't mean you are humiliated. It's a part of the game. It's a part of the profession. So, and I'll tell you a secret of success. You have a list of newspapers or websites for which you are writing. If you are an experienced freelancer, you will have a network of media outlets which normally publish. For example, I was writing for First Post. I was also writing for the News Minute. I have also written a couple of times to the Wire, and I also write for some of the websites, other websites, not as big as the First Post, in terms of the institutional backing they have, but quite popular websites. So when I have 4-5 outlets to write, normally what I do, I will prioritize these outlets. So if I am sending this story, I will first I'll send the story idea. For example, I'll try with First Post, I'll try with News Minute Fast, and subsequently if they reject, I'll send it to other people. An idea rejected by someone may be accepted by the other. As I already told you, a leading website has not published my story and paid me the kill fees, and another leading website published it. It's possible, because it's obviously journalism is a subjective opinion, whether we like it or not, whether we say objectivity and many things. But the fact remains is this: the concerned person who clears your story idea is called gatekeeper in communication theory. The functioning of gatekeeping. I think it's subject to correction. Kurt Lewin, a communication scholar, coined the concept of gatekeeping. So the gatekeeper has to clear your story. The gatekeeper has to clear your story. So obviously, you may like, you may not like. I'll give you one more example. I wrote a detailed article on autonomy for electronic media. This was way back in 90s, when there was a massive debate in India on autonomy for television and radio. I sent it to the Hindu. The Hindu rejected it. I have sent it to Mainstream, a weekly journal edited by Sumit Chakravarti, founded by a very distinguished journalist, Nikhil Chakravarti. Very respectable weekly. I sent it and the Mainstream published it. I'll tell you an interesting experience. Enram of the Hindu. Everybody knows Enram. He was the editor of the Hindu. He is the chairman of the Hindu group of publications subsequently. Enram quoted my article published in the Mainstream in Economic Times. He was writing a column in Economic Times called Viewpoint. So he quoted my article. I never met him by that time, and he doesn't really know me and I don't know him. Absolutely no knowledge of each other. But he read my article in Mainstream, he liked it, he quoted me in Economic Times. When I met him after some time, I asked Ram, Mr. Ram, you have quoted my article in Economic Times, which means you like that article. Yes, he said. When the same article was rejected by the Hindu, then he smiled and said, well, if it had come to me, I would have published it. So that makes a difference. So it has gone to some other gatekeeper. So therefore, have a list of media outlets for which you are contributing, especially if you have little more experience as a freelancer, and send it to one website first, and if they reject that idea, send it to the other. Most often the other website may accept it. I'll tell you the secret. Ideas rejected by First Post were accepted by News Minute. Ideas rejected by News Minute were accepted by the First Post. So it can happen vice versa. So therefore, this is one way of better marketing of ideas. So a freelancer has to constantly work on his or her ideas and constantly interact with media outlets to get their stories published. But this is not the burden for a working journalist. A working journalist need not go through this burden if you feel it as a burden, or this excitement if you really enjoy it. I really enjoyed it and I always felt it as an excitement. it was a real excitement in crisscrossing between different media outlets. So it is your attitude and aptitude ultimately matters. And obviously, it is your economic necessity also. A working journalist will have a standard income, assured income, independent of whether his or her story is published, independent of whether you can write on that particular day or not. But a freelancer is someone who will find it difficult to eke out the livelihood. It is extremely difficult. For a person like me, who doesn't depend on what I get from my freelancing, it's fine. I have a permanent job. I'll only use my freelance money to buy books, to buy newspapers. I get almost every newspaper that's available in Hyderabad. I subscribe to almost every magazine, the print edition or the online edition. How is it possible? I subscribe to Economist, I subscribe to the leading journals, I subscribe to New York Times, Washington Post. Well, I could only spend this money because I earn on freelancing. So, but I don't make my livelihood from freelancing. It is really difficult to make a livelihood. But the beauty of freelancing is you need not be a full-time journalist. You can be a chartered accountant and still be a freelance journalist. You can be a filmmaker and still a freelance journalist. You can be a civil servant. You can be a scientist. You can be an economist. You can be a doctor. You can be an agricultural scientist. You can be anything. You can be anything and still be a freelancer. There are people like that. There are professors who regularly write in media. There are doctors, lawyers who regularly write. So they are not essentially full-time journalists. For that matter, they are not even journalists. They have not been traditional, conventional journalists. But they still write on many things, they still speak. So that is the beauty of freelance journalism. Anyone and everyone, you can be a software engineer and still a freelance journalist. You can be a consultant in some company. So while retaining your regular professional activity, you can still be a freelance journalist. This can be an additional activity. It can be your passion. You may be a doctor, but you still love to play music. You may be an engineer and you may love to cook. So you are not a professional chef. You are not a professional music composer. You are not going to an orchestra party. But you love that. So freelance journalism is a passion. For a people like me, it's a passion. I can't sleep on a day without at least writing 500 words. It is extremely painful. It is difficult for me to complete a day without speaking for half an hour on a given subject, without writing at least 500 words. I have written for major leading websites like the First Post, News Minute, The Wire, etc. I still write regularly. I have written for Economic Times, Outlook, Frontline, Indian Express, The Independent, the Pioneer, Sunday. I have written for a wide range of newspapers. So I have commented on almost all the leading channels, both English and Telugu, because that is my passion. Freelance journalism is a part of my lifestyle. It is not a profession alone. It is a lifestyle. We enjoy expressing ourselves. Another advantage is, I'll tell you, you are a very prominent chartered accountant. Assuming that you are a very prominent chartered accountant, well, you will only be known among the business circles and also those who come in contact with you for some guidance on taxation. But if you are a chartered accountant and regularly freelance to the media on taxation, obviously you will be a very popular person. You will be a very, very popular person. So that is an advantage. Look at how many doctors became popular thanks to COVID. You never had such a good exposure through the media for the doctors. They are essentially confined to their consultation rooms, their hospitals. So they have got into the mainstream media suddenly focus on them. So if you are a lawyer, you are a prominent lawyer, but you will be known among the court. You are only known in bar and the bench. But if you are a lawyer and write for newspapers, obviously you become popular. Well, it may even add to your business also. You add to your profession also. If you are a tax consultant and write for newspapers, you may get more clients also. If you are a lawyer and writes on a wide range of things, you become popular and you may get more clients also. So freelancing will contribute to your original profession also. It will help you to get popularity, and more than that, I feel as an educated human being, it is our duty, it is our minimum duty to educate the uneducated, to enlighten the society on what we know, what we understood, what we read. So that is the basic responsibility of any educated creature. I am an educator, so therefore it is my responsibility to communicate. So freedom of expression as an inherent duty to express also. So Constitution through Article 19(1)(a) provides every citizen freedom of expression. I feel duty to express, fundamental duty to express is inherent and of freedom of expression too.